Hello there, commanders, and welcome to another Total War Arena news update. Today, patch 4.16 has been released, but by judging by its size, it's more like 4.15.1. But let's dive deep into it. Well, there's not much to dive into, but let's read it anyway. Match time. We have made a series of optimization to the matchmaking process. At present, the matching time of each mode and level of the game should have been shortened. After entering the match now, the estimated match time will be displayed on the screen. Increase the robot function. That is something weird and concerning. Increase the robot function. What does that mean? Did they improve the AI or did they add AI? It's something I have been proposing in my videos. Add AI to the player team in the AI matches so that if you play against AI you can get matches faster. I have some problem fixes. None of them are actually significant. Most of them have to do with UI bugs, and I think they're also mostly targeted at the Chinese version with some UI overlapping here and there. And I haven't noticed anything like that, like the problems described here in the English version. So most likely it's just, Chinese version fixes most of them. But anyway. But I have also went into Arena to see, what that increased robot function actually is. So we go here, and you see these seem to be AI names. Just Latin names, you can easily recognize them because they all end in us. Well, most of them anyway, right? So seems, either it's 3 people per team have disconnected during the matchmaking and AI has taken over for them since the very beginning. It sometimes happens. But at such a scale, 3 players per team. Let's continue on. Now we have an AI battle, and it looks like there's 1 player in here, and he plays with 7 AIs in his team versus 8 AIs. That's okay. That's just an AI battle. Nobody cares really. Just let the guy play if he wants to play and learn his units, level them up, grind a new commander, whatever, right? It's there to just learn grind. Nobody really cares whether you play with AI or not. But if they are in PvP, then that's a little bit of a problem, especially if the AI still is as it was before, and that is the AI that puts half of the units just standing on top of a point and doing nothing, or inside a base. We would need to go back to previous AI iteration, the one that we had at the very beginning of the Chinese version, because that AI was actually pretty good. Not only was it smart, it didn't break, because right now AI has some sort of glitches where it just sort of stands and does nothing. Like literally just refuses to move for some reason. Even they're not standing over a point, just, oh, I glitched, I have no idea what to do. They also don't go back to healing, but in the previous iteration they at least would always push forward until they died, and then they would respawn. So it's still not the best to have AI, because AI is just constantly moving forward, never going back to heal, but at least it's doing something. It's always better than just sitting on a point and camping and waiting for something else to happen, right? You might never see action in the entire battle. Let's continue on. Okay, we have another PvP battle here, and look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 AI on both teams. Yeah, I don't think that's a coincidence. Now we have a lot more games going on, it seems. I would say double, maybe even triple the amount that we usually see. I don't very often look in here, so it's hard for me to tell. But judging by the starting times, let's see, that's an AI, that's a PvP battle. So our PvP battle has started less than 2 minutes ago. It's AI, that's another PvP, so 3.5 minutes ago. AI, AI. PvP 5 minutes ago. So you're roughly getting a PvP battle every 1.5 minutes. Another one, 6.5. Right, so they have definitely shortened the waiting times. But artificially, by just flooding it with AI. What the hell? That's 8 here and 8 here. Let's watch this. It doesn't always work, like usually it doesn't work. Thank God, because or the thank AI programmers that this stuff doesn't work because it's broken. Ability to watch a live battle with, I think there's 3-minute delay applied to it. But it doesn't matter. If somebody comes onto a point and deploys stakes, I can go into a battle, I can turn off the fog of war, and I can see where somebody has deployed stakes. And if I have a teammate playing there, right, a clanmate, I saw a special battle in there. Special is a SUNTZU member, right? I can go watch his battle, and with 3 minutes delay, I can think, oh, somebody deployed stakes on D. Watch out. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. AI just stands there. Does nothing. And you can see by their orders as well. It's AI behavior. They just click onto a point with all 3 units, and then once they see somebody, they catch aggro, right? And you have a blob fight. Yeah, that's AI for you. It used to be better. Not much better, but it was better. At least it wasn't camping like that, because you have cavalry and slingers camping over point while they could have been useful. And as long as you have this shit in PvE battles against AI on tiers 1 to 3, when people are supposed to learn, grind, etc, etc, I've already talked about it, that's not that big of a problem. But if this shit happens in PvP battles, then that just ruins your experience. Look at this, for example. This, I think, is an actual player. Right? He doesn't have a name, so he has probably Chinese. And he just rushes the point, and there's 6 ranged units camping on top of a point. So he's gonna have a field day. Let's see. Okay, okay, now he remembered to change. A little bit late, but still. Right? So you have a battle between 4 players and 16 AIs. I don't think that is a price I'm willing to pay for a shorter queue time. I have been playing during Chinese prime time, I have been playing during European prime time, I have been playing on NA prime time in order for in preparation for my state of the game video. I wanted to experience myself various time zones to then be able to tell you firsthand how each of them feel. And I can tell you Chinese prime time, which is when I'm recording this video at the moment, has queue times about 1 minute, 2 minutes long. Like, it wasn't bad. Right, and this is the first day of the patch. It just arrived. Yesterday it wasn't here. So this is after a patch, boom. More people checking out the game after a patch, I assume. That's usually how it happens, although this update doesn't really have any new content, so maybe not necessarily. And it wasn't really announced ahead of the time or anything, so people just found out about it if they happen to launch the game. So maybe, let's give it the benefit of the doubt, there is no increase. But if a battle like this happens during Chinese prime time, imagine how bad it will be during European and especially North American prime times, if you actually think this is bad. Because now you can easily tell I can play at any time of the day and I can expect, let's say, 2 minute queues. Right? It seems that matchmaking just waits 1.5 minute, 2 minutes, more or less. Just gathers whatever players it has and then throws AI at them to fill in the rest. And let's look, actually, there's one more interesting thing that I would like to highlight here. I haven't prepared it, it's like all live, I just launched the game, so this like, whoa, okay, I have to make a video about this. And then I saw this battle. So yeah, let's have a closer look. at unit compositions. So this team has 1 cavalry player, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ranged players. That leaves 4 melee players. This team has 2 cavalry players, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 melee players, and 3 ranged. Why? We could have made it just a fair battle, and that's even with, you know, omission of unit tiers and types. Because for this team you have crossbows, slingers. For this team you have archers, javelins, archers, crossbows, archers. And there are only archers here as a human player, right? So match it with archers, AI archers, since there is no human archers to balance it with, and then just mirror the compositions, just like it is in AI battles. So they have changed how AI picks the units, right? Because in AI battles, at least so far, before this patch, I haven't played on this patch yet in an AI battle. At least previously it was that AI would literally mirror your composition. Same commanders, same units, same tiers. Literally everything is the same. Here, in PvP, it doesn't seem to be the case. I don't know if it is the same true now for PvE as well, because I haven't had time to check. And in PvE it doesn't really matter, but in PvP it does. And, you know, it is like borderline acceptable if at least the teams have the same amount of AI, which seems to be the case. But I am really not liking it. I can bear like 1 or 2 AI per team if both teams have the same, right? Because it's like 10v8, it's just horrible. But if you have a battle like this, 2 human players per team and the rest is AI. And imagine seeing something like this as a player firsthand as well. Like, what it makes you think about a game. Like, is it dead? Why am I playing with 16 AI? Why is there only 4 humans in here? Okay, and let's see what they have. Caesar Javelins. Arminius Fogsmen. Alexander Archers. So, I don't know if I already made some videos, or at least I intend to make some videos that show how some battles are just purely won or lost in matchmaking. When matchmaking creates 2 team compositions and one is clearly stronger than the other, or like clearly a counter. For example, you can have one team. Yeah, I had a battle like that recently. I talked about it in our Discord. Our team, I think, had 5 ranged players and 2 melee players, 3 cav. Well, the enemy team had 1 ranged player, I think 6 melee and also 3 cavalry, which is a very heavy counter to the ranged composition, right? 5 ranged players where they have only 2 melee players to protect them, and there's 6 coming at them. Cavalry, you can argue it cancels each other, but really isn't. And there's only 6 infantry units there to protect 15 ranged units. The cavalry had an absolute field day. It was running all around and picking archers left, right and center because it could, because there was nothing to protect them. So that battle and many others are decided in matchmaking, and only huge skill disparity can change the outcome of such a battle. Sometimes it does. If, for example, the cavalry players were horrible and the ranged players were really good, and well, the cavalry players on that team would also be really good and could stop the cavalry from getting to the archers. And then infantry somehow 6 versus 18 matchup, they can somehow hold the points and actually win the battle, right? And then that battle can be won. But if there is no skill disparity, or not large enough skill disparity, I don't know, English is hard, then yeah, a lot of battles can be decided in matchmaking. And if AI, well, if the AI players here are so heavily mismatched, like there are sometimes in the battles, because I can still understand, like, okay, matchmaking, especially now, when it not only has the unit types to balance, but also tiers of such units to balance across the teams, sometimes there's just not enough players to properly create two balanced teams. I would still argue many of these battles you can just swap 2 or 3 players around between teams, and it suddenly becomes a much more balanced battle. Matchmaking just fails to find the best 2 compositions, the 2 most fair compositions for both teams, and therefore screws one team over the other. And putting AI in these battles can just increase the amount of battles that are like that. It should decrease it because you have full control over what types of units are in matchmaking. But when I see Alexander Arches, he doesn't have a single ability available to him. And it's an AI. Why would you do that? It doesn't mirror anybody from the enemy team because the enemy team has tier 7 cavalry on Guan Yu and sword infantry on Guan Yu. Why is there an Alexander AI archer in the red team? Can I even swap to him? There we go. Why? Like, what else is just purely random or what? Let's see, we have Liu Bei cavalry. As we have Kanana archers. Sorry, slingers. Both of these slingers are Kanana. Germanicus infantry, Vercingetorix infantry, Guan Yu infantry, that makes sense. Kanana, slingers, Liu Bei, infantry, swords. Cao Cao crossbows. Yeah. So does Liu Bei cavalry make sense? I don't even know if you can use his abilities. Yeah, only one ability. Oh, okay, it's tier 3, so maybe his tier 5 ability could also be used. But the first one definitely cannot be used. Sorry, why? Why is there Liu Bei cavalry? Why are there Alexander archers? Why are there, let's see, Sun Ren crossbows? Okay, that makes sense. Alexander archers don't make sense. Kanana archers make sense. Cao Cao swords, sure. Liu Bu swords, sure. Caesar and javelins, okay. Vercingetorix archers, questionable. I mean, yes, there's a meme. Just like skip your javelins, Vercingetorix archers are also a thing. So, half a point for that. Germanicus swords, Arminius. So wait, where's the human player? Human players are the cavalry. Yeah, and I thought this player is having a field day. Just pick cavalry and carry your team. Go on, switch to him. There we go. He just runs around, farms all the ranged kills. Because the AI obviously will not. And just as they spawn, there we go. Blob of 6 ranged units ready for you to charge. Doesn't need to use any special skills, just blobs up. Carries the battle like that. And imagine you're being put in a battle like that. You just want to play infantry, right? You want to be useful to your team, hold down a point. But then you get in a battle with 16 AI, and the enemy has a cavalry player who just farms enemy AI, AI ranged units, and carries the battle like out of control, and constantly goes and backups points or whatever. Like here, AI is backupping. Cavalry player could also do that at the moment instead of killing the ranged units, right? Just get a point for free. Wait, it's the other team, but whatever. If that happens for one team, it can happen for the other. So yeah. That update is extremely questionable. Like, I get the principle, the intentions were right, but the execution, I think it's absolutely horrible. They need to go back to the drawing board and, well, not maybe go back to drawing. I don't know, just get rid of the AI in PvP. They just don't belong. change AI in PvP. First of all, I already said that multiple times in other videos. But not put their AI on purpose. Just if somebody disconnects, right? Make that AI the previous AI that we had at the beginning of the Chinese version, the good AI, not the shit one that we have right now that just comes in blobs on the 4 point. Because that's not very useful. Oh, they recall back to the base, but they don't heal even. I mean, maybe they just need to rush because it was about to be captured. There we go. Why is it faster now? What the hell? I didn't speed it up. So it's still one. Oh, maybe because the battle has ended and now it wants to catch up. Maybe. I don't know, because I never really use this function to actually watch a live battle. And it very often crashes when I try to just see stuff. But there's a tier 10 AI over here. Tier 10 Liu base swords. What are the human players? This guy is tier 8. This guy is tier 4. Come on, select him. I need to click here. This guy is tier 5. And this guy is tier 7. Why is there tier 10 AI? Why? Just make it up to tier 8 if there's a tier 8 player is the highest, right? The human player. No, I can even see that, yeah. AI. That's probably by. I had no idea that's something that is a thing. But congratulations to the human cavalry player who has just carried the shit out of this battle. Well, I really, really want to hear your opinions about it. You have heard mine. I'll probably share more of it in the comments with you as well. Because this is all fresh, this is all my thoughts on the spot. I haven't had time to formulate them ahead of time. I literally just updated my game, saw this, I was like, okay, I have to make a video about it. And I just, you know, let my thoughts flow. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm looking forward to having a conversation with you. And hey, maybe developers are also curious how the community reacts to this update. And maybe in order to see the feelings of the Western community, they'll visit my channel, because I always do patch notes videos. And yeah, leave your feedback there, and I would say it has a high chance of being seen by someone from CA, either directly or reportedly. Third hand, I don't know, second hand. Yeah. As music nicely ends, I also end this video, and I'll see you on Arenas Battlefields, Commanders.